I think if I hear you call me Becky one more time, six-pack, I'm gonna pop your tops. All six of them.
Who are you?
Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another review, and this is another Patreon request, this time from Anabel. If anyone wants to request any type of reviews, topics, reactions, lists, re-reviews, pretty much any type of video, you just send the request either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. And this is for a film called The Funhouse Massacre. Now, I thought this was a film that at the end of the day had a fun premise and idea. It definitely has quite a bit of gore. I just don't think it was truly successful in its venture because I thought the comedy just wasn't as funny as I thought it was. And part of me, I went, you know what, I would rather go watch Hellfest again. Because they're both films, slasher movies that takes place in an amusement park. But Hellfest, that film tried to take itself more seriously. I thought with its direction and that was a much more successful realization of that idea. Because with this, Robert Englund's in the film, sadly not too long. He's the warden of this mental hospital. You have about 5 killers, and specifically. One's a cannibal who's also a chef. One's, they call Dr. Suave, he's a dentist. One is a taxidermist played by Clint Howard. One is a wrestler who killed his opponents in the ring, and one is this prophet who I recognize the guy. He was one of the family that wanted the fortune in Michael J. Fox's film Greedy. Now, Robert Englund is talking with this girl who he thinks is a reporter, but she's actually the daughter of the prophet guy, so she kills Robert Englund, the cops. She's pretty much like Harley Quinn. If Harley Quinn dressed herself up in Joker makeup, that's really what she is. So the 6 of them, apparently before this, she has shacked up with someone that built this amusement park that's supposed to be an ode to those killers, and then they hired actors. Well, the real killers come, kill the other actors, take over the park themselves, and they're going to get people in, and wow, we'll have a fun time. And I don't mind that idea. I don't mind the idea of an amusement park run by these killers who people think are the actors pretending to be these killers in these different themes and different points of the park. But it really, really, really pushes its comedy, only I don't think it's that funny, and so you don't really feel any of the horror aspect because so much of it is comedic. And part of me goes, why you just make it a parody in the vein of Scary Movie if it's going to be this comedic? I mean, the female sheriff has this deputy, and the deputy is one of the dumbest characters I've seen in a while. And the fact that he's one of the people that survive pisses me off, because he's one of the first I wanted to die horribly. And he doesn't. And he's one of the few that survived. And I'm like, wow, this is fucking unfair. This is not fucking fair. Because amidst that, yeah, our lead teens are a group of people in their 20s. It's around Halloween time. People wearing costumes. They go to this fun house. And the teens, I could not give a rat's ass about the teens, one way or another. I was indifferent at best, rolling my eyes at most. The kills, you know, me, I don't know if part of me is like, I wish they took things maybe a little bit more seriously and a little less comedic. Maybe with the casting, if you like made this a cameo cast jamboree. Like, why not Robert Englund be the prophet guy instead of just this warden? Let Robert Englund be the head bad guy. Let Kane Hodder, or get an actual wrestler as, like a known wrestler, as the wrestler. I mean, even if it's someone like, I'm trying to think who would be this big badass wrestler. At the time, maybe Vader. May rest in peace, or try like a big, you know, beast of a guy. I keep thinking Bill Goldberg. That's because I just saw Set to Slay recently, which I actually liked. Which I'll get to that. Or hell, if just Kane Hodder, you get Kane Hodder to play him. Get Mr. Suave, the dentist. Hell, that could be Tony Todd, or I could buy him as a suave guy. The cannibal, the chef, that could be, I don't know, Jeffrey Combs. But I mean, if you got like all these, that'd be a great like littering of familiar horror faces. And the teens, like, get some recognizable people and make it this big horror jamboree, but that's just not the case. Maybe they didn't have the money for that. They definitely have the money for quite a few kills. Some of them, I'm like, okay, the wrestler guy face palms this guy. By face palming him, he somehow rips the guy's face off. Like, he's so powerful, he just rips the face off. Oh, maybe he loves the movie Face Off, so he learned some tips from it. Now, here's the thing though, when you have a movie where patrons start getting killed and so many people die, there's that part of your brain that goes, how come it takes them this fucking long for someone to notice all these people are dying and missing? Like, it takes a long while, and with the amount of people, like, there are classrooms of, there's rooms of people and it's filled with dead bodies. I'm like, this amount of death, 1 or 2 or 5 or 10 would have noticed this seemingly a lot earlier. But, I don't know. That's me thinking too much about it. I'm sorry, my brain went dead for a second. I mean, the lead characters, you have this girl and this guy. The guy's dressed up like one of the Doctor Who. They like each other, but they don't admit it till much later on. You have this jock and this Marilyn Monroe looking girl who like the fucking public. I'm allergic to cats. Well, I'm not allergic to that cat, baby. Again, it's like when you get to a point, I'm like, this many people are fucking dying in a mass murder and still no one is noticing it. That's why I thought one of these Hellfest did a lot better, where the killer was much more secretive because people would find out, and I did it for a bit, but the amount, like, they go into a whole room and there's all these dead bodies. I'm like, even the fucking smell, people would notice, like, wait a minute, there's something's up. And some of the, but maybe that's because it's meant to be such a comedy. That's why that stuff's not taken that serious. Like, there's the Marilyn Monroe looking chick. She gets her face cut by the Harley Quinn lady, and her response is, "You cut my face." I would figure the response would be, "Holy shit, I'm scared, I'm gonna get the fuck out of here." He's like, "You cut my face, bitch." I'm like, okay. And then for thinking she is fucking bride from Kill Bill, she gets her ass impaled. The deputy still being unfunny. Fucktard playing Enya Zapper. A couple of the deaths are fun. There's a mallet death. Ding dong bitch, as I call it. Pressing a guy's face into the fence. That's another thing. Of the 5 killers, some of them get lost in the shuffle. I mean, really, the people that do most of the killing is the wrestler and a little bit of the Harley Quinn girl. Once a blue moon is like, oh yeah, by the way, there's this chef guy. He's over here, he's eating something. Oh, by the way, we got Clint Howard. He does 1 or 2 things. Oh, by the way, we have this dentist. He's drilling. A girl helps fuck that guy up and actually saves this random person, which was nice for a while until that didn't matter. Because like 5 minutes later, that guy dies. So wow, you saved him for nothing. Ultimately, also they do this thing with the female sheriff. You find out she has a personal connection to the Prophet, and this came very, very late in the movie. Almost like, was this a last minute? Well, I guess it's not last minute, because I guess they build it up, to be fair. I don't know if you needed that twist. And she's not evil, but you find out the sheriff is related to the Prophet and the Harley Quinn, who's his daughter. But the sheriff is also his daughter, and so her and Harley Quinn look alike as sisters. I don't know if you needed all that. It's like you're trying to overcomplicate the situation. Even then, they did a bad job, in my opinion, developing the sheriff, because I didn't care if she lived or died. The deputy dipshit, he shoots Clint Howard, then he pukes. One of the friends, he's pretending to be Machete for Halloween, and so he's a wannabe Machete. Then it goes to supernatural territory, because the wrestler will get shot a dozen times, but he still won't fucking die. And I watch as I'm going, okay, I don't mind the premise. Robert Englund is sad that he's not in it, that he's only in the beginning. Of the 5 killers, again, most of them are not given a lot of screen time. It's mostly they said the wrestler and the Harley Quinn wannabe. It's so much trying to be a comedy that you can't feel any suspense or horror, because it's just trying to be so goofy and silly with the constant jokes, like the deputy dipshit and the guy who's wannabe Machete. And again, I'm like, is this like a movie that doesn't know if it wants to be a scary movie or like it wants to be a scary movie, 1 or 2, but it doesn't want to go the full 10 yards on it. If you like that dynamic, cool. I would rather watch Hellfest, which took itself more seriously, and I think was the better for it, honestly. It stuck with a tone. Here, it's a comedic, but I don't think it worked. And then the ending, for such a goofy, silly movie, is kind of a dark ending, where, spoiler alert, Deputy Dipshit survives, Machete guy survives, and then the girl, the guy she loves, the Doctor Who, the wrestler breaks the guy's back because he's not paying the fuck attention. Gets shot like a dozen times by the cops. Everything's fine. Machete guy leaves. Deputy Dipshit leaves. The other cops are there picking things up. the lead girl's in an ambulance with the female sheriff. But then as it's going, you find out that the female sheriff, that's not really the female sheriff, it's Harley Quinn with the sheriff's face on her. And then the lead girl's like, ah! Then cut to the ambulance is wrecked. There's blood all over the inside, so you can already guess what happened to the lead chick. And Harley Quinn wannabe leaves. And then after you watch the end credits, the wrestler gets up from the body bag and he's still alive. I guess for the Funhouse Massacre Part 2, why do I think you're going to be waiting a long time for that sequel? So it sets it up for a sequel. I'm like, good luck on that. Again, I don't think it's going to happen. Like I said, if you like like every fucking film I talk about, if you hate it and I liked it, cool. If you liked it and I hate it, cool. That decision's up to you. That's not my job. I can only give my honest opinion, and to me, did I like the characters? No. Did I find some of them irritating? Yes, like the deputy. Did I think the comedy was a bit much? Yes. Did I find it funny? No. It diluted any amount of horror suspense you could gravitate towards. The 5 killers in the Funhouse, like you said, most of them are not given much to do. You could have made the film with just 3 killers, the Prophet, the wrestler, and Harley Quinn, and you would not have had to change a whole lot. A handful of scenes that the chef, Clint Howard, and the suave dentist had combined. So handful that the Prophet could have done all that himself. The leader of the group. So, and then the ending is like, okay, so even if you're enjoying the film, either, wow, it's trying to be so silly to meet it, but now it's kind of a downer, and then it's set up for a sequel that good luck if you ever get one. So if you're even invested in any amount of story or plot, then you're not going to get that culmination of events, because there ain't going to be another fucking movie after this. This came out 2015. I never even heard of this film. I'm sure most people never heard of this fucking film. I would just rather watch The Funhouse, Tobe Hooper's film, or, like I said, the Hellfest, deal with the amusement park. So to me, the Funhouse and Hellfest is a better watch than this. That's just me. With that said, thanks for watching. We'll see you guys later.